Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Sporting Memories nostalgia quiz. This one, a bit different this week. I've come up with a theme called Sport and Music. So we're going to look at maybe players who've been into music, maybe theme tunes of famous sports programmes or songs sung from the terraces, anything that's linked to music and sport. Hopefully it'll be in here. 15 questions as usual. So I'll do the questions this evening, and then tomorrow night we'll go through the answers, and then I'll try and give a little bit of background to some of them as well. So hopefully you'll enjoy this little nostalgic trip through some sport and music. So if you're ready for question number 1, which is on football, and here we go. So question number 1. So that well-known little tune called Nice One Cyril, which we all know, Nice One Cyril is a song associated with which football club? That's a good opener. Nice One Cyril is a song associated with which football club? And if you're really good, you'll know which player it was linked to as well as the football club. So that's number 1, Nice One Cyril. Number 2, this is an interesting one. Which 1980s pop band produced a song called Tour de France in 1983 and much later in 2003 an album called Tour de France Soundtracks? So that's going back in time a bit. Which 1980s pop band released a song called The Tour de France in 1983 and much later in 2003 they made an album called the Tour de France Soundtracks? Any ideas on who that could be? That's number 2. I thought that's quite apt with the Tour de France happening at the moment as well. Number 3, another famous track coming up. Which famous opera piece of music was made famous to a global audience at the 1990 World Cup? Which famous opera piece of music was made famous to the global audience at the 1990 World Cup? And at the time it seemed to be everywhere, on adverts, publications, everything you read, and obviously the opera singer who sang it as well. So if you're really good, you'll come up with the opera singer as well. So that's number 3. Number 4. For you rugby fans, which song is associated with England Rugby Union? Which song is associated with England Rugby Union team? What do they normally sing from the terraces? What's the name of that song that has become particularly famous? And if you're really good, you'll know why. So that's number 4, Rugby Union. Number 5, maybe a little bit easier this one, but let's see how you go. Which duo made Raphael's Bolero famous again? So which duo made the track of Raphael's Bolero in the public eye? It became famous again as a piece of music. Who was that? And for extra, where was that? Where did that happen? And number 6, by the way, you don't get an extra point for that. Number 6, back to football this time. Which band helped inspire Manchester United to the double in the 1993-1994 season? Which band helped inspire Manchester United to the double in the 93-94 season? Going back in time a bit and see if you can work out who that was. Which band that might have been back in 1993-94. Number 7, staying with football. Which 2 England players had a hit with the song Diamond Lights back in 1987? Which 2 England players had a hit with Diamond Lights back in 1987? And to be honest, it wasn't a bad song. You know, if one of the top bands of the time had done it, I think it would have been well accepted. But of course, because it was these two players, it's always going to be not high level, is it? Number 8, tennis this time. Pat Cash, do you remember him? Former Wimbledon winner. Pat Cash sang a song called Rock and Roll with which other famous tennis player? Pat Cash sang a song called Rock and Roll with which other famous tennis player? So have a think who that might have been for number 8. And now moving on to number 9. This is an interesting one. Vanessa May. I'm sure you've heard about Vanessa May before. More known for her violin performances. But at what sport did Vanessa compete at the highest level? So Vanessa May is known to most of us as the famous violinist. But at what sport has she competed at the highest level? That's Vanessa May, from Thailand originally. Number 10. Back to you football fans. Now then, the song You'll Never Walk Alone is sung at every home game of which football club? Possibly quite an easy one, that. The song You'll Never Walk Alone is sung at every home game of which football club? So that's number 10, and if you're really good, you'll know who wrote the song as well. But we'll look at that in the answers. So that was number 10. Number 11, moving sports. The instrumental part of Fleetwood Mac's Chain is associated with which sport? The instrumental part of Fleetwood Mac's Chain is associated with which sport? I'm sure you've all heard it. You'll all know it when you hear it. So that's number 11. What sport is that? Number 12, moving on now to boxing this time. Which boxer's father became 4th in the 1968 Eurovision Song Contest? Which boxer's father came 4th in the 1968 Eurovision Song Contest? Who do you think that could have been back in 1968? Okay, number 13, moving sports again. The Matchroom Mob and Chas and Dave performed which song? The Matchroom Mob, there's a clue, and Chas and Dave performed which song? So this is going back to the mid-1980s, when this particular sport was probably on a real high. Number 14, the penultimate question on this round. Which former professional footballer who played as a midfielder from 1984 to 1999 is now well known for both his acting and his singing? Which former professional footballer who played as a midfielder from 1984 to 1999 is now well known for both his acting and his singing? That's number 14. Maybe a little bit harder, that one. And finally, number 15. See how we get on with this one. Which member of the 1960s pop group The Monkees had once been a jockey? Which member of the 1960s pop group The Monkees had once been a jockey? So that completes the sport and music round. I hope you found that enjoyable. The first thing you'll probably do is look up some of these songs and remind yourself what they all sounded like. So I hope you enjoy that little walk down memory lane. A bit of nostalgia there, particularly when it's music. And it also shows what I noticed is how music is so interlinked with sport in so many ways. So we'll go through the answers of these tomorrow night, and I'll see you then. Bye bye for now.